The new 20s, the new 20s, the new 20s.
Oh, hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the new 20s. Thanks for hanging out with us. This is the new 20s. I am Charles Mockler.
And I'm Caleb Sutherland. I'll start saying my last name because it gets really awkward when Chuck says his last name and I don't. So
Yeah.
I realize that it just,
Come on, man. You're an equal part of this podcast. Like this, we need both last names. How are people going to dox us? But yeah, this is the new 20s. We talk about being 30 in 2020, which feels like we're all 20 because we've been inside and financial institutions have left us all behind at this point. But yeah, you can listen to our episodes on iTunes, Spotify, all those fantastic places. The last one was about marketing. Before that, we did jokes. Before that, we had a really heavy episode. We've had a couple heavy episodes, which I think people like.
Yeah, it's been weird, man. We've had some kumbaya moments and then just just some weird stuff. So glad to be kind of on a different topic, a little what we kind of intended this podcast to be about,
Yeah.
Today we got relationships. Chuck's got the Valentine's Day special.
Yes. I just realized that this is
jacuzzi pool in the back.
It's a heart-shaped hot tub, and that's not another heart-shaped hot tub next to it. That's a mirror, everybody. So you can see what's going on.
Is that the War of 1812 in the background? What's going on there?
It might be it might be. I didn't even notice that. There's pyramids, so I don't know.
I literally just saw it myself.
It might be a Bible scene. There's pyramids.
Oh,
I don't know where this picture's from. You can check us out on YouTube too if you want to watch us. It's always a good time. But yeah, we're talking relationships today. Caleb and I would say, are on the opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to relationships.
So
you are a single man in the city.
Oh, very much so. In the suburbs, but
the suburbs of Cleveland. Ooh, what I wouldn't give. And
free parking.
Hey, that's not okay. I'm in Los Angeles, so I would that's all.
What I would give. But Chuck's in Los Angeles and fully. What do you call it? Relationship? I mean, obviously it's not.
Yeah, I guess monogamize.
Yeah,
monogamize. What? I have been in a relationship for 9 years with my wonderful girlfriend, Hannah Canningator. Yeah, thank you for the light applause.
We could put some applause in there and post.
Yeah, it sucks doing stand up when you say that because people are like clap a lot and you're like, it's not. Please stop. But yeah, we're just kind of breaking down differences in just those lifestyles. Is putting too much of an important word on it, but I guess we have to use lifestyles. But yeah,
better use lifestyles. Jeez.
Hey,
safe sex.
I mean, yeah, we're definitely not on that route yet. But yeah, so I guess we could. I mean, do you want to start with your single life, or would you like to start with my?
I'll let you kick it off.
Okay.
You're vetted in this relationship game.
So recently we celebrated our 9-year anniversary, and my boss was so funny. I told him I was going to be out on Monday because we were celebrating it, and he was like, "How old are you?" It's like, I'm 30. And he's like, wow. He's like, you made it through the 20s. Like, that's such a big, he's like, if you can make it through that, like, you're kind of good to go. And I was like, I appreciate that guy who's never been married.
That's the best place to take advice from.
Right? Like my manager who's never been married. I'm like, yeah, thanks, man. This is good. He's like always dating some girl named Tiffany or something like that. But shout out
to you when you watch this, Mr. Manager.
Yes. But we've had a pretty crazy transition. So we met in Missoula, Montana for college because she is from Wyoming. And when you're from Wyoming, you go to the big city of Missoula, Montana for college. And I was I grew up a little bit in Seattle, moved to Hamilton, Montana when I was 8, went to St. John's for a bit for college, went back. So I was definitely the more cultured of us. No, I'm just kidding. She's been to so many different countries. But we went through some pretty crazy transitions. Like we went from just being in college and kind of being together to kind of thinking we were going to break up and she was going to move to Los Angeles because she was going to move to Los Angeles and I was planning on joining the Navy at that time. And so like we kind of did a road trip from Missoula to Seattle because like she was going to meet my dad and like my stepmom, all this stuff, and like kind of our last like hurrah. And it just like, it was a great trip, but it also just felt like it was sucking because it was like, I don't want this to stop, you know, like this is this is great. And why would I mean, I feel like it's only got a lot of shit to figure out. Like, let's keep it up in the air. What's going on? And then eventually, like, we obviously stayed in contact quite a bit. We'd said I loved you and everything before that too. So it wasn't like some weird nebulous area. And then Navy stuff that you only had to wait. And I was like, well, I have something fantastic in Los Angeles. So peace out. I don't want to wait. And this seems like it's way more worth it. And thankfully it is, I think. I don't know what being in the Navy was like, but I can't imagine it's as fun as what I'm doing right now, or fulfilling. So yeah. And then we've been in LA for, I mean, the majority of our relationship, like we've been in LA for 8 years, 9 years, something like that. And it's like, it's just been so long. Like, she's also like, I consider Hannah like my best friend. Like, I know people say that bullshit all the time. And you meet two people who are like, this is my best friend. You're like, but you guys, what is this? Like, you don't even seem like you laugh very much together or anything like that. But she is my best friend. She's the funniest human being I've ever met in my life. And yeah, it just takes a lot of, I mean, it's so stupid, but it's communication is how you get through anything.
I can see that.
And that's not to say that it's easy. Sometimes it's hard as hell. Like, sometimes you got to sit down and be like, look, I know you're going through something right now. We have to talk about it. Cause you're making the air angry. Like, you're being weird about stuff. Like, when you get stressed or someone gets stressed, you can just kind of see, like, it's not, like, the air is like different around them. And you're like, this is
no, I get what you're saying.
This isn't you right now.
Yeah. Especially when you know somebody, like, it just, the vibe just is off. No, that makes sense.
Yeah. And we've lived together for quite a long time too. I mean, the whole time we've been in LA, it's been just us. We've never had roommates or anything like that. Thank God. I know people who are married with roommates out here.
Oh.
Yeah, which, like, in my brain, I'm like, no, like, we are married. Like,
that sucks.
This is our place. But I think, like, the note in here is, like, what makes the relationship successful. And it goes back to communication. It goes back to at least out being in Los Angeles, and kind of, we were here for our early 20s, which is so stupid. No one in their early 20s should live in Los Angeles. You just do a lot of dumb stuff together. Like, you have to be able to learn a lot, especially when you're moving to a new city, coming from where we came from.
That's just in general. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, anytime you move, you're pretty much starting from scratch, and it sucks. But no, for sure.
And she was out here before me. She found our apartment. She did all that stuff. I was an idiot on the ranch trying to look for places. I'm like, there's a place in Long Beach. And she's like, Google how far away Long Beach is from Los Angeles.
They make it sound so close on TV.
They do. Like, they make it seem like the beach is a 10-minute drive in Los Angeles. No, it's 45 minutes each way, and that shit sucks if you take a Lyft. You're just with the Lyft driver for an hour and a half. But yeah, and it's like, and she's amazing. We both have similar, like our moms have similar, have had similar kind of, like, we've had similar relationship issues with our mothers before. So I think that's a thing where, like, we kind of connected on that, and, like, just how we handle certain situations, which sometimes can be a bad thing. And, like, you got to be able to push each other. Like, I mean, I go to therapy once every 2 weeks. She does some groups too. And it's like, those are things that recently started. And there's no way that I would be in that without her. And it's helped me so much. And yeah, I mean, she's the kind of person, like, I feel like there's not always, like, we have a note in here talking about gender roles later, and gender roles in a relationship when you've been in for 9 years, kind of spanning this time in culture where gender roles are especially, being addressed, and they're constantly changing, but it feels like kind of, where we're at now, it's really shifting into, like, oh wow, pretty crazy to think that both people can do whatever they want. Right? Like, because that's really what it is, right?
Like, how does that work? That's not my idea of a relationship.
Like, it's like, who's against that? But it is interesting. Yeah. It was like, I don't know how to cook. But it's interesting. Hey, we're gonna get into free game later. But it's one of those things where it's like Hannah's the type where she's like, oh, like, we need to get a new couch. And I'm like, boom, I found a couch. And she's like, that's great that you found that couch. let's look at other options. I'm like, all right, fine. And then we end up finding a way better couch, right? So like there's these things of like, she spearheads that kind of stuff. I'm more of the like take care of shit around the house type guy. I'm the tidier. I do the dishes. I take care of the pets. Like, and that's a thing where I'm like, this is great. Like,
Yeah.
And these aren't like some weird, I feel like when you say gender roles, people think that you like sit down with your partner and you're like, you as a woman, what are you doing? Me as a, and it's like, it's just a fluid thing. No like doubt. keeping things fluid, I think is the biggest, other than communication to help out long-term relationships is not having crazy expectations and stuff like that.
I can see that. Definitely makes sense.
And
yeah. Now, as for me, over here, the 30 and suburb single life.
Hey.
I guess what in the note we put, so people have a point of reference. We put what makes the relationship successful for Chuck, and what makes all mine fail. So,
which I was like, dude, that's such a hard word. Like, that's the other part is the expectation. Like, success is such a weird thing to talk about in a relationship, right? Because some relationships you have for 2 months, that's a success relationship. You ended amicably, something like that.
No doubt.
Or it's a blow up in 2 months. You're like, fuck, that did fail.
When I say fail, I mean obviously the fact that I'm still single or am single at the moment just means that like nothing's worked for a lifelong relationship. Put it that way.
Yes. For sure.
So that's what I mean by fail. For me, it's probably been obviously I'm constantly on the move. 5 years in a row.
Man, you travel hella.
For work, I just picked up and went. Like went from Baltimore to Chicago back to Baltimore to Houston out of Cleveland. And I've been
You're just in Dallas the other week. Like, that's the thing. It's
I meant as far as like yearly permanent moves. So like, so for work, I traveled throughout the season for work, but just like permanent like job moves. It's like, hey, I worked here, I worked there, I moved around here. So for me, that's always been a point of contention whenever I talk to somebody new. It's like, hey, so what are you doing in Cleveland? Oh, I moved here from so-and-so. Oh, you're from there? No, I'm not from there. I just moved from there. So where are you from? Baltimore. Was the last time? 3 years. And it's like every time it's the same story goes up, and they're like, so are you going to move soon?
So and that's so funny.
In the back of their mind, it's like, Caleb's going to leave soon, so I'm not going to get invested in this. And I'm like,
or you think it's in the back of their mind?
Huh? No, I've heard it. And it's also in the back.
Okay.
No, it's also in the back of my mind. It's also in the back of my mind too. I'm like, is this where I want to make my roots? Like, is this somewhere where I want to like settle? I'm not sure. So that's always there. Just the nature of my job, just always moving. Also, me as a human being, like being you've been in a relationship for the last 9 years,
almost
which is
decade,
which is pretty much your whole transition into adulthood from 21 to 30. For me, I've been technically single. I've been in like one relationship that was a few months, maybe two relationships that were a few months.
Ooh,
but like, I don't care. but like they didn't last obviously through the stage of adulthood with me to where like I grew as an adult, we grew together. Like it was just me growing as a person through these ebbs and flows of life. And it's just like, I've been single. I've been doing this on my own. I've been handling stuff on my own. I've been learning on my own. I haven't shared these moving experiences with somebody else. So for me, it's always been like my little section of the world is my apartment. This is my space. This is, what I'm going to do. I can move freely. I don't have to really concern myself with somebody else. Not to say that I don't want to, but it's so much easier to kind of, for me, again, speaking for myself, it's so much easier for me to be like, all right, this job's open. Do I want it? Do I want to go for it? What's holding me here? No kids, no wife, no family, like in this area anyway. No, just nothing forcing me to stay. So for me, it's just the freedom of being myself and being able to move around when I want to is also a cool thing. And I just don't know how to, as a 30-year-old, I don't know how to really share my space or share things.
It seems so hard because I think about that, and like I'm the kind of person who, like, when it comes to living situations, I'm pretty amicable. Like Hannah, like in terms of own space, like Hannah also, like, she was super into performing and stuff. So like she's, I was doing stand up, she's doing improv at UCB. Like we have this understanding of like, we know how this goes. Like, yeah, it's hard to make time sometimes. Like, you have your own set, you have your own life, you have this other stuff. But in terms of space stuff, like, I've never like, yeah, it's always this funny thing of like, I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like, that's fine. But I think that would be really different. Like, if I was single now, dude, I would have like the most dumbass like single guy apartment. Like there'd be like a nice poster at Dodger Stadium up or like something like that, and I'd be like, no, it's not coming down. It's been with me for 6 years. Like,
but that's true. Like I was in a conversation not too long ago. Like somebody was like telling me about Christmas decorations, and I'm like, last year all I did was put up a string of lights over my mantle. And I bought I used to have this little like stocking that was this big with my initial on it because I had a smaller apartment a few years back. So small stocking, small apartment.
Of course.
Now I had this little stocking in a bigger apartment. I was like, God, this looks bad.
It looks sad. It looks like an alcoholic's
Christmas.
It
was bad. Yeah. So I was like, fine, I'll go get a string of lights. Bought the string of lights. By the way, string of lights are really cheap. Didn't know they were that cheap.
Dude, okay, I'm telling you, like string lights, like the bulbs, I know a bunch of white women use them for their weddings and it kind of got played out. Yeah. But like putting it up just like in a hallway, and it makes everything look so much better.
Yeah. So
these are things you learn in a relationship.
So I put up a nice little string of lights over my mantle, bought a bigger stocking from Target, cost me like $10 or whatever. And this girl was just like, that's all your Christmas, like that's all the Christmas decorations you got? Or that's all you're going to do? I'm like, yes. What do I need a tree for? What do I need anything else for? Like that was literally for me in my Instagram story to show people Merry Christmas from, my apartment.
Yeah. That's like I'm going to put presents from myself underneath the tree.
Yeah. What you want me to do? Emoji presents under the tree? Like, no. So it was.
That would be hella funny.
But in my mind, I felt like that was somebody infringing on my space. Like I blew it.
Like it's my choice.
I was like, yeah, it's my apartment. She's like, no, you would have to get more than that. I was like, I would not have to do anything I don't want to do in my apartment. Like in my mind, it just was like, no, get away. Like, so I just started like, no, we're good here. Like this isn't probably going to work because you're already telling me what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah. You're not in the space yet.
Yeah. Like it's not your
That's what's funny. Cause like with Hannah, she'll be like, we should do this. I'm like, what about this? And she's like, yeah, like we can try it or what. And most of my ideas are bad. I'm not like, you know what I mean? Like, but I mean, having that own space is, that would be kind of tough.
So I'm just not used to thinking about somebody else in my day to day. That's the other hard part for me. Sure. It's just like I wake up in the morning, I go to work, I come home. If something's on my mind, I'll do it. If it's not, I'll forget. And that doesn't bother anybody but me. But when you're with somebody else, you literally can't I won't lie. I've forgotten about people from time to time. We're just like, I wake up, it's like, oh yeah, I forgot I was talking to her. Like, not to say like I'm some player or something. It's just like, this is like
you got different focus.
You got to like keep up and I'm not used to keeping up. So if that's not on my day to day, then it's just a lost art for me. So I think that's one of the reasons it's failed because I haven't tried as hard as I probably could have in the past. And so now I've gotten so used to being single that it's just like, you get what you get and you like it for me. Like that. I'm taking that approach, which is bad. I know, but that's just.
But you've also, it's funny because it's not like you haven't advanced profession. You know what I mean? Like it's not like you're stuck in a rut and you're just like, I'm single. This is what you get. Like you're like doing well. It's not like, you know what I mean? Like, so that's the positive.
That's the other thing. Like that's
you're not detrimentally single. You're like, I'm working on myself and I'm doing things.
What I've also realized at my age of 30, I'm a late bloomer. So I wasn't like just like talking to girls in high school and college or whatever. So that's fine. But like I've realized that at 30, I'm more of a prize now than
stable job.
So that's where I get cocky. I get a little cocky about it. So I'm like, you're not good enough for me sometimes. Like in my mind, I'm just like,
But that's something to think about, right? Like when you're like, if I were single right now, I'd be like, man, whoever I am going to have to be with, got to be in a similar professional situation. Like I can't be taking care of somebody.
It's such a weird dynamic to be like, hey, here's what I have, here's what I'm striving for.
You're ranking like stuff,
and it sounds superficial, but I think at the same time, I wouldn't want somebody to settle
Yeah.
Like if I was beneath somebody, I wouldn't want somebody to come down to my level and then they go, oh, you know, you're only making this amount and I need you to make this much. Or
which is also
not
such
even
bullshit.
Not even a financial thing, but I'm just saying from like, hey, you don't have this, you're not at this level of faith as me, or you're not, you know, doing this, or you're not, you know.
Man, if you got out
this,
faith in a relationship, that'd be brutal.
But I know it happens. Like people
Yeah.
feel like they're at different levels at life, just in any level, like any aspect of your life, whether it's faith, whether it's finances, whether it's family. Like some people might see it as a detriment that I don't have kids and I'm 30, which is weird.
Well, so I mean, you know, I'm from Montana, and like my mom is so funny. She'll be like, I just don't know what to call Hannah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you can call her my girlfriend. You can call her, I guess you can call her my wife to other people if you want to. Like, California doesn't have common law marriages, which is kind of surprising. Yeah. But like, it also like, it's that thing like we're like, the kids thing is so funny because I'm just like, man, like everyone who knows me knows, you know, what Hannah I do for a living, that kind of thing. And it's like, do you want us to try and raise a kid right now?
No doubt.
Like, it's impossible.
It adds to my profile that I don't have kids. It's like, oh, single, bearded, dad bod.
Bearded.
And I got the dad bod going. That's a thing now, apparently. So.
Oh yeah.
I got the dad bod with no kids. It's the trifecta.
That's good. Yeah, that's what's up.
My own apartment, my blacked out Altima. What?
The nicest Altima you can get?
The nicest 2018 Altima you can get. Are you kidding me?
Hello.
Come on.
Well, like you mentioned the kids thing, like outside forces are so interesting too, because outside forces affect obviously like Hannah and I's relationship sometimes, and you're, you know, non-monogamy, like because Hannah and I's like my parents divorced. Not that you're against monogamy, I didn't mean it like that.
Just not currently in a monogamy.
Yeah, you're just not currently. Yeah. I'm like Caleb's poly.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, let's not put that out there. let's clarify that before we go further. I'm like, ladies, that's not it. If you want to drop a snowflake in my DM after this.
Hey, yeah. It's 2020, you know, women should be throwing snowflakes out.
Shoot your shot. All 2020.
Yeah. But it's funny because, like, you know, my parents divorced when I was young. And, you know, my dad remarried a couple times. And my mom, you know, had relationships and stuff like that, but she was, you know, working and like also had some lofty career goals, which is the older I got, I was like, okay, that's tight. Like, good for you for going after that. That's amazing. But the outside forces are so interesting because, like, Hannah's parents are divorced too, but it happened when she was older, which was like such an interesting process for me to kind of see. But, you know, each person has one part of their parent in them, right? Like, you know, you're 50-50, as they say. So, like, that was such an interesting to go through. Just helping her through it as an adult and, like, kind of seeing her unpack what parts of her parent she did in certain situations. You know what I mean? Like, be it like a tense situation, be like you have an argument, something like that. So it's just so difficult because I feel like when we were growing up, how things were portrayed with relationships was like there's a set way to do it, and it's not. That's just the most bullshit thing in the entire world.
TV ruins your mind about how
it killed
real
us.
Life is.
It absolutely did. And with relationships, and we talked about gender roles a little bit, it's nuts. Like, there's times when Hannah makes more money than I do. There's times when I make more money than Hannah. And there's this weird thing too that I've had, you know, good discussions with Hannah about on occasions, and my mom on occasions, where it's like, look, you don't have to provide everything. Like, if you can, go for it. But also, like, there's this set expectation, I think, a lot of the time with men, and I'm not saying there's not expectations with women in relationships, obviously. But there is this kind of thing ingrained in you when you're a man that you're like, damn, by the time I'm this X age, I should be able to provide for a family of me, my wife, and 2.2 kids, or whatever the hell the statistic is, right? Like,
that white picket fence.
Yeah. And then, like, especially, it's funny you mentioned, like, people kind of, like, you've had interactions where people are like, oh, you move quite a bit. Where, dude, we live in a place where everyone is not from here for the most part. So, like, that's funny. It's a transplant city, you know?
Yeah. But I think for me, it's just like, as far as gender roles go, we can take the conversation that way. It's just one of those things where make more money than me. I don't care. I
would love that, actually.
You would never hear a word from me. Like, what? You make more? And now that also depends on the person you're with too, though, like how they feel about the dynamic. Like, obviously for me, if you make twice as much, I don't care. It's not going to hurt my feelings one bit, Because if we're technically in this partnership together and you don't care and I don't care, then who's to say like what matters in your relationship?
Exactly.
Like if I have a feeling about a relationship and Chuck and Hannah are doing one thing and I'm like, I don't like that.
Yeah,
Chuck and Hannah don't care. It does not affect their day to day at all. And I think so many people get so caught up in what other people think about what's happening between two people or how it should look.
Especially now with social media stuff.
Like if you're not content in your relationship because of what other people think your relationship should look like, then you're not. Then you
got a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, that's a bigger problem than you think it is. But if you can have your relationship and say, hey, I will gladly, I've said this time and time again, I don't care who gets mad at me, I will gladly be a stay-at-home dad.
I know 2 dudes who are stay-at-home dads and they're like, dude, I love it. Like, I hang out with my kid. Like, it's tight as hell.
Yeah, like people go, are you not, how are you just your ego? You're not, like, what if she comes in and she tells you to do something? We'll have a conversation. She's not going to tell, like the same way. It would be the same for me though.
Well, it's funny too.
If I was the breadwinner and she was a stay-at-home mom, I'm not just going to walk in the house and disrespect her and be like, hey, make sure you do this because you see these.
Would have been nice to eat some lasagna when I came home. It's like,
see these lights on in here? Like, this is me. The reason you got these lights is because of like.
So that's what people think is like they think that because we've also been kind of raised to believe that like everyone fights a bunch in relationships, which I don't care. Like you are going to have disagreements and stuff like that, but you're not going to have like explosive fights a lot.
Yeah.
You shouldn't. It's not good. Like, but there's that thing of like, oh, say you're a stay-at-home dad. She comes home, tells you to do something. And you're like, first of all, are they asking me? Are they telling me? Like, what? Like, if someone's if I was staying at home and Hannah was, wearing a power suit, trading stocks or whatever, and she came home and she was like, take out the damn trash, I'd be like, whoa.
No doubt.
Like, what's up? Are you good? Because the funny thing is that you're usually my first reaction if like there's something like that happens or like I come home and I like slam the door or something like that. Hannah's just like, hey, are you good? It's not like don't slam the damn door. Like it's like, wait, you seem off. Like let's talk about this.
But that goes to like how you start your relationship too. Like you would I would never stand for like disrespect like that. And then you see somebody like if you start off that way and you're cool with it, that's more power.
Good luck. Yeah.
I'm no one to judge. But if that person's like the sweetest person in the world and then you guys get married or something and it's like a switch flips and you're like, wait, you're not the same. That's when I think people need to realize like, wait, whoa, pump the brakes a little bit. But for me, as far as gender roles go, like we can do traditional gender roles. I personally don't care. I feel like as long as there's an agreement between the both of us, I'm not one to lean either which way on the aisle. I'm not going to be like a woman has to stay home. She has to cook. She has to.
It's just not even possible anymore.
That's another thing. Yeah. So, or I'm also not like my wife will have to go to work. She has to like, if we can make it work and I go to work for 40 hours a week and I'm not like backbreaking, like trying to like, working 20,000 hours a week.
You're not digging holes for 40 hours a week.
Yeah, just so she can like lay up. Like, no, use that degree you went to school for. Like, let's all pitch in here. Like, I'm not. I
and
don't
that's
want
the
you
thing.
To stifle yourself here either. Like,
and that's a great discussion to have. Of like, hey, I think you need to be doing this. Like, because I've gone through phases where it's like, oh, I'm about to go to law school. Like, I started comedy because I was studying for the LSAT, and I was like, this shit sucks. And I read a bunch of stuff and Hannah's like, look, like if you think you're going to do this, go for it. And she's like, I'm trying to do my dreams. Like this is the time when we can really do this. And those are just opportunities for communication, right?
Yeah.
Like it seems like we've kind of all been raised the condition. Like when there's a disagreement, like it's a disagreement. And you're like, well, that's an open lane to talk about it. Like when you don't talk about it is when things get bad.
Yeah. Also, I am a fan of disagreements. People think I'm weird because I'm like, I need a good I need to know like you're not just going to pacify. Yeah, you're not. Don't just pacify me and go, okay, yeah, and then just no. I want to know where your head's at. Help understand like more about you, so moving forward we can understand what's going on here. So like, tell me what's going on. Like, hey, we might not agree, but that doesn't mean we have to hate each other. And that's
exactly.
That's for personal relationships. That's for work relationships. That's for, dare I say, politics. Whatever the case may be.
Maybe not so much anymore, but
but that's the thing. I think you can disagree in politics in a certain manner without hating the
Oh yeah, I
itself.
immediately went to the current election. Is where my brain went with politics.
No, I just meant like, well, in general.
In general, yeah. Oh, in general,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, we don't
You
have the
should
same
be able to,
politics. Han and I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, you should be able to be like, I see where you're coming from. I see why you think that way, and I see why you feel that way.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I have to like hate you.
Still wrong. No, I'm just kidding.
Doesn't mean I have to like hate you and, you know, throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like at the same time, like let's try to compromise, dare I say, a word that's ill forgotten. But like
well, the pacify thing is a good call because Han and I are both pacifiers, right? Like, you know what and that's a hard relationship to be in sometimes because like, no, this is fine, and then one day you're like, oh, this thing actually isn't that fine.
Yeah.
And we've both gotten better at being able to be like, not even pacifying, because it's not, it's a hard habit to break, right? Like when it's been kind of a thing you've done for a long time, when you maybe have like, you know, multiple kind of family situations you got to deal with or something like that. But we've gotten to the point now where it's like, and it feels like when people try and not pacify, sometimes when they're trying to break out of it, they go really hard the other way. And they're like, I'm not going to pacify, so I'm going to dig my heels in. It's like, no, there's a middle ground. Like there's a thing where it's like, let's talk. Like we don't even have to like, it's not even necessarily a disagreement, right? Like you just you're just talking about what the hell you should do.
Yeah.
It gets overcomplicated sometimes too. I'm
not a pacifier, but people think I am because I'm nonchalant. So like stuff really doesn't sway me either which way. A lot of times I'm like, we can do that. Sure, it's fine. Oh yeah, that's fine. Is that what you want to do? I was like, I personally don't care what we do. Just I'm the type of person like there's a certain level of I don't care what we do as long as we do it together. That's where I fall in like relationships or like just dates or whatever. We could pretty much do anything under the sun as long as we're doing it together and we're having a good time.
That's exactly what I talk about.
I do put my foot down when there's something that I definitely don't want to do, and I'm like, nah,
of course.
I'm not doing that. Like,
yeah, people have boundaries. Boundaries is such a big thing of it too.
So for me, it's like I'm cool with whatever up to a point. And so people think that because I'm so nonchalant about 80% of the stuff that when I'm 20%, I put my foot down. And like, oh, he's kind of mean. Like, no, you're
like, no, this is the 20%.
That's where I'm just like, nah, I'm good. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm also. For me, and I guess this kind of circles back to the communication piece, I suck at communication.
Bro, it's hard. I don't mean it's taken us. I mean, dude, we've gone through rough patches. You know what I mean? It's not like you don't go through it, but it's so hard to learn how to do it right, especially if you know, single parent household. Well, you know, like growing up, it's like we both saw a single parent household where I don't know who the hell my mom communicated with. I don't mean that in a bad way. Like now that I'm old, I'm like, who the fuck did you talk to? Like that seems hard as hell. Like, but like, and the example, you know, it's hard to really communicate that stuff. Yeah.
For me, it's just like my mind and the words that come out of my mouth don't always match. So
my mouth is ahead of my brain 99% of the day.
I'm saying stuff that doesn't sound. I have a good grasp of the vocabulary, but at the same time, it's just very blunt and matter of fact kind of language that I use, and that doesn't always translate well, mostly to the opposite sex. And I'm just like, sorry, like this is what you get. I tried to fix it, and like and it just sucks. So I'm like,
you're hanging drywall as you tell someone
to. I'm just like, I'm sorry, I tried, and until somebody understands that. Or
you feel, you know, because there's also the flip side of like, once you start kind of making concessions, and concessions has a negative connotation a lot of the time when it's not a bad thing. Sometimes you're like, wow, there's this little thing I do. That's not a good way to grow things. And it's not that that's bad all the time, but when you start kind of realizing that like, oh, I enjoy this person's presence so much. I respect them so much. I'm okay with like, whatever. Like,
I know my flaws. I'm well aware of my flaws. There are some that I actively try to change, and then there are some I'm just like, you might have to deal with that one for a little bit.
There's some that you're like, this is just what I do. Like,
and
like when I get like anxious, I'm like, all right, whatever dishes, like I'm doing these dishes, like, and it's like, all right, whatever. Like, or I'm like, you know, I also feel. Lately, because of quarantine out in LA, like one of the only safe things you can really do, like if you want to see your friends, is golf. So, which I golfed in high school and stuff like that. So now I feel so crazy because I just have like this weird retired old man lifestyle where I'm like, I'm stressed out. I'm going to go hit a bucket. Like, I'm going to go to the range.
But we all have our little thing, though. Like,
yeah, and you need it.
You got to.
People think that when you're, I think sometimes things too is like, when you're in a relationship, you still need pieces of yourself that you can dial into. And I'm not saying you're not yourself all the time in a relationship, but there's pieces where it's like, this is just for me.
Yeah.
Like, this is my thing. Like, I'm going to go golf. I'm going to go whatever. Like, those are still very necessary things in relationships.
I think one of my biggest flaws, though, and I don't want to call it a flaw because I don't necessarily think it's a flaw. I know it's problematic at times. I'm a fixer. So, like, if you come to me and you say, hey, this is going on, this is wrong, you know, you're telling me problems at work or something's happening or this is going on. And I'm like, all right, so what are we going to do to fix it? Here are your options. You can do this, you can do that. And then I get in trouble because
they don't need that right there.
It's like, I didn't
just trying to talk.
And for
Hannah
the life
and I are
of
the
me,
exact same thing, and we've both had things where because I've been like one day we were trying to find a place to eat, and it was like kind of a nice fun day. I was like, I want to go, like, and she was like, we could do this, and this, and I was like, I'm gonna be honest right now, like, giving me 6 options is fucking my head up. Like, I'm really sorry, I'm not mad at you, I'm mad at the situation. Like, we can't. The fixing thing, because I do the same thing.
I'm just like
you just do this, and this, and you're good. And it's like, can I just be sad about it for a sec?
No, we don't have time for that.
Exactly.
You're wasting time you're wasting more time being sad than you are like
it's fixing so hard.
I'm naturally a fixer. Like, you got an issue, what we got to do to fix it? Like,
and that goes into
how much money
emotions.
do you need, and how much what do we need to get? Like, and it's such a weird dynamic to when people tell me it's just like, hey, shut up, that's not what I called you about.
Just let me be sad.
Like, and I'm like, I just wanted somebody to listen to me. I was like, so you just want me to sit here while you complain?
Yes.
That's what you want from me?
Exactly what they need.
No, we're not doing no.
See, but I know what you mean. So, like, and that goes back, like, we haven't talked about, but like, processing emotions is so difficult too, just for every single human being in the world. And for men especially, and for men especially in relationships, it's this weird thing of like, oh, you're supposed to, like, men traditionally, gender roles again, have been like, oh, well, I can fix this. Like, be it a literal, I can fix this sink, or a literal, like, yeah, we know how to figure out your current emotional issue. And it's like, no, it's not that easy. Like, you've got to process through these things. Yeah. And that takes a lot to get through. Not saying, you know, like, everyone's different at it is the other thing. So part of, you know, Hannah and I have been together 9 years. Every year we figure out a new part of us that, you know, changes with how we deal with problems or changes how we deal with emotional stuff. And it's just allowing that room to grow, which, like, can be weird sometimes. But
I can imagine. Like, I don't know how to deal with my emotions, probably because
nobody really does.
But, like, it's bad for me because, like, I don't share or don't even, like,
do you have a room in your house where you just punch holes in the wall?
I wish. I think about that all the time, but then I think about my deposit being gone, so I'm just like, nope, I'm good.
Do you have a place where you can break glass bottles?
So I've heard of, like, those rage rooms or whatever.
Yeah.
I want to try one so bad.
I went to a party once that had a rage room that was just their garage where you could break glass bottles. And I was like, I partied quite a bit in college, but I was also a bit of a dork, as you can tell from this podcast. And I was all, like, drunk or whatever in the rage room. And I was like, do you guys have goggles to wear? And they're like, no. And I was like, all right, I'm out. Like, I'm not trying to, like.
Where's the waiver? Do I sign a waiver here,
look,
guys?
I could. I don't want to put you in a bad spot.
Yeah. Is this, you know, what's the permit? You guys got, like, your permit?
Yeah, like, and so, like, for me, it's like, it's golf, or it's like, you know, Hannah's run marathons. Like, it's that kind of thing. Like, physically having to let that shit out is big.
So that was my thing. Kind of started during the pandemic when they kind of closed the gyms down. I started trying to get back in shape, was just running. Like, though physically it sucks, my mind was probably the freest it's ever been when I would just get up and go outside and run for like 30, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Put your headphones in. By the way, you're a sociopath or whatever you are, if you can run or work out without music or headphones.
I love it. I love no music.
You're a psychopath.
Dude, running with no music. So my thing with running with no music, I don't run ever, but when I do, I go no music because, like, I'm the idiot who's like, I love hearing everything around me and feeling connected with where I'm running. I know that's dumb as hell, but it's how I feel. And sometimes when I run too fast with music.
I know I probably shouldn't say this, but that's literally the whitest thing I've ever heard.
That makes total sense. It's white as hell. Like,
I want to be in tune with my surroundings.
Bro, it's nice. I'm like, oh, there's a helicopter. There's someone peeing on the side. Like, I like, it's a good vibe. I'm part of the environment I'm running in. If I get hit by a car, I'll hear it coming. You know what I mean?
I guess I get it. In LA, there's so much going on that you can kind of.
Oh, if I was in Montana, I'm listening to DMX the whole way, and I'm running a 6-minute mile. Like, in LA, you're like, so that's the thing, because music for me is a distraction when running. In LA, there's distractions everywhere. You're like, that's a new gang tag. Yeah. Seems like they're having an issue. Like,
yeah, okay. All right.
No, back home, I'm listening to 120 BPM music.
Okay. All right. Then maybe I'll retract that.
It's still white though.
Yeah. The way you said it just made it feel so white. I was like
I'm running barefoot. No, I'm just
But no, I think everybody needs some type of physical outlet. Where even if it's just like playing some video games, just some type of de-stressor.
That's not physical. Because I love video games. I play a bunch of video games, and I love, like, just the mental escape of it is big.
Yeah. I guess that's what I meant, more of a mental escape. Everybody needs, like, a mental distressor, some type of distraction, in a sense.
From everything. Like, and it's not like a distraction, because it's funny, because people, like, I think people think it's a distraction from your relationship. You're like, no, it's a distraction from work, relationship, everything. Like, I once had someone fuck me up with we were talking about video games, and, like, his parents divorced when he was young, and I was like, yeah, man, like, I just like video games, like, when I just kind of want to, like, tune out. If it's late, I just want to play something. He's like, oh, yeah. He's like, I think part of it is because I think a lot of people like video games because you can kind of control what's happening, and in your life sometimes it can't happen. And I was like, you just fucked me up. Like, you're totally right. Like, God damn.
Definitely right. How would you psychoanalyze video?
Yeah, I'm like, dog. Like, what? And he's like, I don't play video games though. And I was like, you should, you weirdo. Yeah.
He was like, I've already figured out video games. So
right. Like, he's like,
I'll take it up a notch.
Mad. Yeah. Like,
now I'm gonna control.
And I went home and I was like,
media ads.
I went home and I was like, yeah, I'm still gonna play some video games.
Oh yeah, that just explained why I like playing them so much.
Yeah. Now I have like a smart sounding thing.
Now I can tell my therapist.
Yeah, it's because of my upbringing. Say something now. All right, so I feel like we have to transition to your new social media lifestyle, which is hashtag free game.
First things first. I need to preface this. Do not take my social media 100% seriously. Don't take anybody's social media 100%. Let me preface that.
Please don't take mine. My current Twitter Abby is a dog wearing a cowboy hat and a button-down shirt and cowboy boots sitting on the couch. Yeah. So you know what my Twitter's about.
Now my actual
at Charles Mockler, follow me.
Yeah, my actual post on Instagram, like picture posts, are serious.
Yeah.
My stories, throw them out. Don't even don't take them.
I'm not even using close friend stories. That shit's so stupid. I'm like, if you're my close friend, which I have, I don't know, less than 10 of because they're close friends, I'll hit you with a text.
No, I use it from time to time. The trick is,
I haven't seen them.
The trick is, and this is the free game for me, from my end. The trick is you switch up who's in your close friends for what you post that day. So you give people the illusion that was a core group of people who I don't use it that often, but there's a core group of people that are always in close friends. Yeah. But then there's also like maybe
some people who think this would be funny, or some people and like you had an experience with.
But then you also gotta, and this is free game. I'm probably snitching on myself. This is free game. You also got to make people feel like they're one of your close friends by like giving them something every now and again. This
is why social media is gonna kill all of us. This is why we're all gonna.
You just give people a little bit of false hope that they're one of your close friends.
You're gonna get DMs that are like, "How many of your close friend stories have I been in?"
Oh, look, I personally don't care. Like at this point, if you know me and I text you regularly, and like even if we talk, I would be like, "Look, people who know me know how honest I am with that."
Also, if you care about being in a close friends thing, come on.
You're not my close friend for real. If that's the case, like you're probably not. If you're like, I'm not in Caleb's close friends. guess what? You probably shouldn't be if you care.
Why are you worried about it?
Yeah. You're like, because that's when you take my social media seriously. And I don't.
You can't. Like, that's the thing. Like, I haven't posted on Facebook in like 6 years. Like,
so Facebook is obviously the safe content. That's the everything you want.
Facebook is where I promote shows. Like if I have a show or like the show I host.
Yeah, that's good.
Pandemic. That's where I would post. But I'm not going to be like, hey, just got a bagel.
Yeah. And that's why I erase all my memories, because that's how it was 10 years ago for me on Facebook. Like, hey, I've
deleted hella old statuses.
This sucks. Like,
missing home right now, and you're like, dude, this shit needs to be gone.
Yeah. I cringe every time.
I'm not this person anymore.
I cringe every time I spelled phone with an F or some kind of way. However I used to spell back in the day, it was bad. It was terrible. Like, it was worse, the worst shorthand ever. And I text my cousin now because I feel like an old person when she texts me. She's 18 or whatever, and she texts like all your acronyms.
Yeah.
She texts all like the IDCs. I know what IDC is, but like there's more. Obviously, there's way more out there than I know of. And she'll text me some, and I'm like, what does this mean? You know, I'm too old for this. Like, use the word. She was like, how do you not know you're on social? I was like, I don't know, because we talk like adults now. Like, I still shorthand some stuff.
Everyone else who follows me on social media is also my age. Like, I don't have to do young shit.
And then I was telling her, I was like, watch, when you're my age, you're going to look back at some of these posts and you're going to be like, why would I ever? And she's like, no, I won't. And I was like, okay, I'm screenshotting. I'm screenshotting this just for you right now. So in 10 years, I can send it to you.
And I can't imagine being 14. Like, so we had MySpace, right? And MySpace, when it was like in its heyday, was like a dumb fun thing. You're like, oh, I'm gonna have a background, I'm gonna have songs or whatever.
By the way, the originator of Close Friends was top 5 or top 8 on MySpace. Yeah, top 8
and then
on
you
MySpace.
can do like top 16, and it's like, why are we doing this? Top 8 is fucked up.
Yeah, but that was,
now that I'm older, it is so fucked up.
That was the originator of Close Friends.
I remember I had my sister in my top 8, and someone's like, gay as hell, you have your sister. I was like, what? Like, I was like, it's my sister, dog. Like,
that's so
what do you want me to do? No, it is, though.
It's hilarious, but it's like, that's how we were in high school. Like,
yeah.
What are you doing?
Like, so? Like, no. I'm a fan of the free game thing, because I obviously, like, I missed the app revolution. I'm so happy I didn't have to try and meet someone on apps.
I guess I should have started the podcast with this, but dating in 2020 is trash.
Garbage. Seems like garbage, bro.
The funny part is when I talk to other people who I'm trying to date or dating or go out on a date with, I'm like, we both say it, like, dating now is trash. We tell each other that on the date. Like, that's how bad it is.
That's a good thing to come up, like, because it seems fucking awful, dude. Like, all my single friends, it's like, it just seems hard. And I'm not, like, I don't mean that in a disrespectful way.
No,
like,
it's not.
There's so many layers to break through, it feels like.
It's so ridiculous, like, when people just feel the need to. I'm not a liar. Like, I will tell you anything you want. Like, because in my mind, I don't have enough space in my mind to keep up with lies that often.
Yeah.
Like, if I tell you something, like, I get in trouble. I tell people the same story all the time. I get in trouble for simple stuff. Like, all right, Chuck, say we're in New York or whatever. We're back in New York, and me, you, and some other guys, we go check out a movie just as friends or whatever.
Yeah, hanging out.
I go, a month later, go out on a date with my girlfriend. Let's say I had a girlfriend, and we go see a movie, right?
Okay.
And then say another month later, I go, hey, remember we saw such and such? And she looks at me and say, no, we didn't see that movie together. And I was like, and I'm sitting there like, we definitely went to go see this movie. And it's actually the movie I saw with my friends and not her. And now she's mad at me because she thinks I took some other girl to see the movie. And I just got mixed up with which movie I saw.
You're like, Chuck, send me your ticket stub.
No doubt. But so for me, lying would only exacerbate that amount of just forgetfulness. And I'm just like, I'm stuck in a rut at that. Like, I'm just like, no. Yeah. So I tell people straight up, like, hey, am I talking to more than one girl right now? Maybe, maybe not. Like, I'm not going to leave you. And I'm like, yeah, probably. We're all. I assume you are too.
My thing is, like, I have the worst perspective for all of this because I have been in a relationship for almost a decade.
Oh, yeah.
My thing is, like, if you're talking to multiple people, like, when Hannah and I, when we first met, we didn't meet and start a relationship. She was with a dude. I was with somebody. There may have been some overlap. But
Hope they don't watch this.
Oh, I think the girl I was on, I'm pretty sure is married now.
Doesn't mean she's still not checking for you.
I hope she's not. I hope things are going well enough that she's not.
You'd be surprised. That's another story for another day.
It's that funny thing where, like, if I was dating in 2020, I'd be like, if someone asked me, they're like, "Oh, you're talking to other people?" If I was, I'd be like, "Yeah, I mean, like, I'm keeping communications, like, but I'm not, like, we're not exclusive type thing." Yeah. But that also seems like the dumbest thing you could say. Like, it seems like a nightmare.
It is. It sucks, and it's just there's no other way to put it. But dating in 2020 is trash. That's the only way you can preface that. That'd probably be the title of this episode, but who knows? I just it sucks, but at the same time, it's this cool dynamic because I'm blessed enough to be in a situation where I have no kids, nothing tying me to one thing.
Shout out to both of us for not having kids.
Like, I get it. I'm 30, and there are girls out there. Now, I'm not bashing people who have kids by saying that.
No, but my situation, we should not have a kid.
Yeah, at 30, I expect people probably to have a kid or two by now. Like, I'm 30. It's not like we're in high school or I'm in college.
30 isn't 20 though.
Yeah, I'm not like in high school where a girl has like a kid and you're like, kind of sketch. You're like 16 with a kid. Like, it sucks.
Well,
however,
you're talking to someone who comes from a place with, I think, the second or third highest teen pregnancy rate. So I've seen a lot of teen.
Here's the kicker, though. I do admire the people. I won't say admire. That's bad. I do notice
Respect.
the people who had kids at like 18 or 19 now have like 11 or 12-year-olds, and their kids are almost out the house, and they're only going to be like 38. And
dude, being a young parent seems kind of tight. Like,
now it does, but at the time,
yeah. Oh no, terrible.
At the time, it was terrible. But now you're like, I could enjoy adult life with and have the kid already out the way.
Yeah.
Like, my kid will be 3 when your kid's walking across the stage at our alma mater. Like, it sucks.
Yeah, I was doing that math in my head the other day. I was like, I guess if I'm 40 when I have a kid, I'm gonna be 60 when that kid's 20. Like, is that too old? Like, it's just weird.
So I just look at, my mother had me when she was 33. So I feel like her age was fine, growing up. I didn't feel like she was an old mom growing up.
Of course not.
Like, so looking back, I'm like, she was just a mom. Like, she was normal age. Like, I didn't think she was an old mom. But now looking at me at 33, I'm like, or 30, if I have a kid in 3 years, I'm like, I probably wouldn't be an old dad. I'd make it.
I think 35, you're good. Like, it's when you get to 50.
Who's
when I'm a little like, hella people have kids.
I guess 50. Guys can. Women aren't. Are women having kids at 50?
Yes, women can have children at 50. It's harder, but like, it's possible. But like, being an old dad seems hard.
Oh yeah, I would never.
You're 70 when your kid is 20?
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
Yeah, like, that puts a lot of the pressure on the kid too to take care of you.
Yeah. But no, I guess just looking back, it's just different dynamics, man. Like I said, we're in our 30s and you're just trying to figure this stuff out. It's trash. That's all. I guess to circle back, it's trash.
Let's bring it all back to it's trash.
Yeah. Shout out to the people with or without kids.
Yeah, keep doing your thing or not doing your thing.
Yeah. However that works for you. Kids are cool. I like kids, but I don't know.
I like having a few degrees of separation from kids.
Like, the uncle life? The uncle life?
Exactly, the uncle life. Like, being the uncle, and then Hannah and I, who I guess uncle, I don't know, who like me being an uncle, and then Hannah and I not having kids, it's like there's an added level of fun when you go see your nephews and stuff.
Yeah. My niece texted me I texted her. I texted her, I say, hey, I miss you. She's 12 or whatever. Oh wait, yeah, she's 12. She will be 12. So I texted her, she texted me back, I miss you too. Followed up with her report card or like grades or whatever.
Oh, that's so tight.
Like her progress report. No. It's tight, but I know her. She wanted something. She was like, hey,
definitely.
I'm like, you're not about to.
I'm not going to Venmo you $15.
She also knows I give her whatever she wants too, because there's that degree of separation where I'm just like, okay. But I just told her, I said, wait till the actual report cards come out before you give me this progress report BS that you try to put.
I've done well on progress reports before.
Yeah, we all on progress reports. I was like, I know the game. I'm not out of it. I'm not out. But yeah, that's how, I guess, for me, relationships go. or trying to find one. I am actively looking. Actively is such a
but like you're out there. You're talking to people. You're not trying to find a relationship. You're trying to find a person.
Yeah, I'm not like I don't want to say actively looking, because then people's like, oh, he's out here just knocking on doors and sliding in everybody's DM. Like, no, I'm not. I'm just like, I'm more of the mindset now, especially once the season starts, football season starts. I'm more of the mindset, if it happens, it happens. I'm not trying to force anything. I'm not trying to rush anything.
Well, that's where you get into trouble, when you're like, you get into a relationship, you're like, this should be like this, and they're like, I don't think it should, and you're like, what?
Yeah, and I'm just like, slow and steady wins the race for me. I'm just taking things. I'm more of a take things as they go kind of guy.
That's funny that you say that, because that's exactly how Hannah and I feel when people ask us why we're not married. Like, look, we love each other. Let us be, like, there's only been, like, Hannah's best friend's mom, like, she was like, we ended up running into them on our anniversary, which was tight. She's like, what number is this? And we're like, 9. And she just looks at us, she goes, it's so great you guys have been together that long. And she's one of few people who's been like, 9 years, huh? When are you getting married? Like, is the immediate next thing out of their mouth. And it's like, just let us live. Yeah. Like, you want to come to my wedding in fucking pandemic? Sure, let's have it.
Like, I just also think it's just like, it's their relationship. It's their life. Like, and that's the thing. I think everybody does it, and to a certain degree. We all put these perceived ideas of how life should be.
Relationships.
Yeah. You have these perceived ideas of how relationships or how life should be. Like, you've been together for somebody for that long, and you're in your 30s now, and you're not married to them. What are you doing? Like,
hella stuff.
Yeah, like what are you waiting for? And like, you're actually, like, people think you're waiting to get married, and when you're just like, no, we're happy where we are. We've talked about it. We're good.
Yeah.
And then people put their perceptions on how things should be on your relationship. And
one of Hannah's friends freaked out one day because she was like, you guys been together so long, like, do you want to get married? And Hannah's like, we'd love to have, celebration of love or something. But she was like, if Charles asked me to marry him tomorrow, I'd probably say no. And she was like, well, because I'm like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
And like, B, it would be like, she's saying, I'm like, all right, well, we're still together. It's not like we're like not. It's not like it's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like, well, I guess we're done. Like, but her friend was like, what? Like, that's such da 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 da. And Hannah was like, what do you want me to say? Like, okay, fine, I'd marry him. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Like I said, people put their perceptions onto other people, how you should feel about things because of time, energy, however you want to look at it. It's just a weird dynamic. That's why I'm just like, I just want to live my life, and however it goes, it goes. But at the same time, like, is everybody within the relationship happy? That's all.
Yes, that's what matters. It's that nucleus, right? Like, but so that doesn't mean it's going to be the end of free game, right?
No.
I enjoy free game.
Yeah, let's talk about. I guess I kind of beat around the bush on free game. Free game is.
You need to be more proud. You need to be prouder of free game.
I am. So free game is.
There's about to be a road race.
Yeah, I was going to say,
bro. Someone might start throwing hands out here.
Free game.
I live right by the highway, and I have seen people fist fight about parking. It's crazy. Nice. There's a fruit guy on the corner who knows how to get anywhere in Los Angeles. Bro, what is happening out there? Like, do something. Get out of the car.
Oh no. He's there. God. He's there. Free game. Don't get
free
out the
game,
car.
Stay in the car. Have I ever, bro, one of the funniest get out the car situations I've ever been in. I might have told the story on this podcast before. My buddy and I, we just hosted a show in Covina. We're at the In-N-Out drive-through. Pretty full. Yeah. Like, we're behind, there's 3 cars in front of us. The dude in the car in the very front throws a piece of litter out of his car, and we're 3 cars back. And I was like, hey, honk at that fool. And my buddy was like, oh, that's kind of funny. Cause you're littering, whatever. And my buddy hits a little beep, hits a little honk. The dude opens the car door way too calmly. This tiny, bald, looks like he just got out, Vato gets out the car. And just puts his elbow on kicks his feet into a cross, just puts his elbow out and just looks out and is like, who honked at me? And my buddy and I are just like, I don't know, man. That was crazy that someone honked you. But I was like, dude, I don't want to get beat the hell up in this parking lot. That shit was so scary.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that was a good time. All right, back to free game. Sorry.
Free game is I don't even know how. I don't know how it started. Maybe it was just a joke or something.
You're listening to too much Future.
my role model. Free game is just a series of tweets / IG story posts that just not I want to say expose, educates. That's the word I'm looking for. It educates the masses to what people do in the talking phase. Not now, some people have misunderstood free game as like people cheating on other people. That's not what that it's
No, I didn't think that at all.
Some people have though. Some people were like, oh, what are you talking about? That's like cheating behavior. I'm like, I'm not talking about cheating. I'm specifically
I didn't say
about,
#free game fuck other people.
yeah. I'm like, no, I mean like in the talking stage, whatever you want to call it, the situationship stage.
Courtship.
Yeah, that whole is there are moments where something is said or something is done that is not as it looks or it's not as it seems, and I educate. I keep saying expose. I educate.
Expose is so expose has such a harsher connotation.
Oh yeah, I educate friends, followers, whoever listens and whoever sees a retweet about the situation. 9 times out of 10 it's what women do to men, because why would I give free game away for what men do to women? Like, that's just not fair.
It's called keeping the cards close to your chest, people.
Why? Because then if I give away free game about men, it makes it look like that's what I do. That's not the case.
Some free game is what it should be.
Yeah. So now I might venture to the other side of the aisle and start giving away free game for men.
Extend an olive branch.
Yeah. But for now, I want to educate my fellow guys. Now, this is the hard part, Chuck. I don't know anything about. This is where it gets
women?
weird. I try to no. yes and no. I just hate. I want to preface this because I don't want to offend anybody. I know nothing about like homosexual relationships. So like free game, if you think it comes across as like this weird type of deal.
You're talking about male to female relationships.
Yeah, and that's just all I know. And I just wanna. I feel like I have to say that because I don't want to get canceled before we ever get started. So I just always feel like I've got to be a part of the PC police and throw that out there. So that's all I know about. This is all I know. This is all me and Chuck know. Or I don't know anything else.
Yeah.
So this is when I dealt with other women and I've noticed things that have meant other things, and I share that with fellow followers. It's free game. #free game. If you have, I've had some sent to me. I was like, oh, that is some nuggets. And I've shared one that was a good nugget. Some have come up in conversation that, just spawn. I think that's what kind of spawned the second free game, was just like conversation I had with a friend about actual close friends on Instagram.
Yeah.
And he was funny. He was just like, yeah, like she posts some stuff on Instagram, but I don't know what she's doing. I don't know where she's going. Like, and I'm like, why do you care? Like, he's like, cause like we're supposed to be talking, and like she just gives me vague answers, and I'm like, yeah, she's probably out with some other dude. Like, who cares? And he's like, he kind of got upset about it. I'm like, it's a part of the whole talking phase.
It's the whole thing, man. Like, it would also be,
either you're gonna like throw it all out on the line for this girl. I'm like, hey, I want to be exclusive with you, and like, you want to. If it's too early for that, then you just got to take what's going on.
Yeah.
Now, hopefully, you just hope, that it's not further progressed with that guy than it is with you, because then you're fighting an uphill battle.
But also, if it has, you just got to let it go.
Yeah, you just got to be like, hey, I'm also in the game as well. Now, you're either down at halftime or you're up at halftime. It's up to you to like decide which way you're coming.
Yeah, you're gonna dig in and pull this thing out. Like,
yeah, or you're just gonna be like, I've done that. You honestly have to make that decision where you're just like, do I want to give this my full energy right now, or do I just want to just like coast into a win?
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't coast into a win. Somebody else, No,
sometimes you coast straight into a brick wall. It happens sometimes.
Somebody's the Cowboys and you're the Falcons, and it just goes that way.
Yeah.
Speaking of, we're not gonna get into that.
Yeah.
But it just happens that way. So for me, I was just like, hey, yeah, she probably is posting to her Instagram close friends. You're just not in them. And I was like, free game fellas, like, yes, she does post to her Instagram close friends. You're just not in them. And that one was like kaboom, like girls everywhere were just, it was a solid 4 to 5 girls in my DMs. Like,
that's so funny.
That's so true. Like, why would you say that? And I'm like, well, first of all, it was kind of a joke, somewhat of a joke. Obviously it's true because the way you guys are just hitting me up about it. But at the same time, I'm just like, free game, #free game fellas. Like, I just want people to not worry as much. This is a part of it. It's free and I'm giving it away.
Well, this is just like, it hasn't even really changed that much, right? From when you're out of her top 8.
Oh, you're out of her top 8? Oh,
but you know what I mean? Like
8.
with MySpace, like it was like we've all fluctuated from the 6th spot to the 8th spot to out. And you're like, wait a minute. Like,
how did I get out of here?
You can't do a top 9?
Like, like give me a top 16 spot, please.
Well, add
that other spot to the bracket for me, please. Thanks.
Once they extended the top 8 to top 12, I was like, MySpace is over.
And then Facebook came along, and
then Justin Timberlake bought MySpace, which happened. That actually happened.
Did it?
Yeah, because they were trying to make.
I know MySpace became like a big music platform at
Justin Timberlake bought it, and it was trying to turn it into a music thing.
Yeah, but no, I just try to help out the masses, my fellow relationship goers.
I just realized we didn't even talk about one of the weirdest things in 2020 to only really kind of get a name in the last like couple months: simp culture online, which is like
elaborate, because I don't.
So it's this thing.
I can kind of infer what.
No, so also simp used to be something like simp is a bad thing. Yeah. Like every lyric you ever hear someone called a simp, it's not a good thing.
A lot of simp action going on out there.
Whoever's honking is the simp right now. Like, simping is this thing where like, so there's like, there's like a attractive woman on Instagram, whatever, she does her thing. She posts her pictures, she's got hella followers. Yeah. Dudes will simp, and it's called simping, where they're just like, what bills do you need paid? Yeah. Oh yeah, no doubt. And it's like, that's existed obviously well before the internet existed. But now it's taken to this whole level where like dudes are like, oh yeah, I was simping on this other girl's page. I'm like, that's a fucking bad thing, dude.
Oh, they actually say like they were simping on the girl?
Yes.
Oh, like, I didn't know people bragged about it. I just thought like that was like, so that is one thing as a guy, as I've gotten older, I didn't know, ladies, I'm sorry, I didn't know that there were this many creepy dudes out there. Like,
it's been a thing. So that's why growing up in a small town is funny, because there's not as many volume wise. So you're like, there's the 3 creepy dudes right over there. You're like, I know there's creepy dudes. Like,
no, I didn't know until like girls would tell stories like in college and stuff. I'm like, what? A guy does that? Like, until girls feel comfortable enough to open up to you as a guy friend, or however you want to look at it, and tell you past situations that they've been in or things that a guy.
It's horrifying.
I literally
having a sister helps too.
Me and my sisters don't really like talk that personal. Like,
my sister is 11 years older than me.
Yeah.
And so she would, I guess, give me free game now that I'm thinking about it, because she would talk to me about like, obviously, I was raised by a single mom, like, how to treat women, like how to not be a fucking weirdo. And it's like, okay, I guess this makes sense. And then you hear things they went through, and you're just like, what?
Some stuff doesn't even cross my mind, the stuff that guys have done. And I'm just like, I apologize for my gender. Like, I don't know what else to do in that situation. Like,
I don't align myself with those people. Gender's fluid. I'm not with that fucking stream or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I'm wrong with the political.
But you know what I mean? Like, no, it's that thing. Like, you hear things, it's like, you're just like, wow, this is horrible. Now, like, it's this weird thing, like, simp culture and like e-girls and all this weird shit where you're
that's
just
crazy
like,
that like guys are now bragging about like, oh, I was simping on, like, no, like guys, again, I didn't know guys were as creepy as they were. Like,
I also think flying, I also think, because we work in professional sports, and like, guys fly people out and stuff like that, and to me, I'm like, what? Like, financially and everything, like, that is like, if you're in the relationship with the person, that makes sense, but you're just like flying out. Like, my one friend dated she was an Instagram model, and she's like, oh yeah, Chandler Parsons one time flew me out, and he was like, did y'all have sex?
Of course.
And she was like, yeah, and he was like, and then you just like went home? She's like, yeah, and he was like, I think it was when he was in Dallas, he's like, Chandler Parsons can't find someone he doesn't have to fly out within the city limits of Dallas. Like,
he's just like, he wanted something different.
Such a weird flex.
I mean, he wanted something different, and maybe he thought, look, I don't know.
But that's the thing you talked about. Like, that's that part of my brain where I'm like, I would never DM someone and be like, I'm about to fly you out.
Yeah.
What?
I wouldn't.
Also, you're flying Spirit, so only take one bag.
Hey, Spirit and Frontier, by the way. would be my choice of fly out methods.
I got a saver fare. You got to catch it at 3 in the morning, and you might not have a seat.
That would definitely be my. You're flying first class on Spirit, by the way. Okay, I got you the $10 extra legroom spot.
I was gonna say, I think first class on Spirit is you get to pick your seat and you get that
seat class, that extra $10 extra legroom spot.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Simp culture is weird as hell. I don't get
it. That's not me. Have I slid in some DMs before? Yes. Have I offered to fly someone out? No, not offered. No. But like, yeah.
And we came up like we're children of the internet, right? Like we had that weird thing. We're trying to figure out how to use the internet in a respectful way. It's like such a weird ass, like with terms of boundaries and stuff like that. Like it's weird as hell.
There was never a respectful way to use the internet for us growing up.
That's a good point. Overzealous all day over here.
Like, I don't remember ever. I remember AOL chat rooms being literally the worst place you could be sometimes. And it was just not for anybody 12.
It's not a good time.
Yeah. I mean, you thought bullying in school was bad enough. To go home after 4:00 and to see the messages, whew.
Yeah.
Forgive me if anybody's watching this and I sent a message in the AOL chat room. Thank God there was no screen chat. I mean, no
screenshots.
Screenshots back then. Jeez,
WikiLeaks is gonna figure out how to find all our MSN and AOL. Chats.
I found some old I don't know, like some Facebook message chats. I was just like, oh, this is bad. I wish I could scrub it. Like I don't know. Look, sometimes
you fuck up, you know?
Yeah, sometimes. Whew. I think
as the great Mike Epps said, players fuck up too. You know?
Oh yeah, every day. It's happened. But I think, free game is free game. I'm giving it out for free. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Kingskid415.
I think that's a good note to end on, right? The free game promo?
Yeah, free game. I mean, if you guys got free game that you want to share.
Hashtag free game.
Yeah, hashtag free game. I don't even know if it's a real hashtag or not. It is now. I made it. I don't know what else is attached to it, but if it's something else attached to it, cool. If not, cool.
If the simp community gets a hold of free game, we have to stop. But
hopefully I can get paid off of. That would be awesome if I could just be like,
getting paid off a hashtag is the millennial dream, I would say.
Is that possible? You know more about this than I do.
No, it's not possible.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
You can become an influencer and then your life would be a living hell. But
if I became an influencer, that would be terrible.
I would love to become a golf micro influencer where I'm just an idiot who gets sent free shit and then I go to the golf course, take a picture of my bad.
I don't know what I could
bogey golf.
I don't know what they would let me influence.
Damn. You might have to. What does that even mean?
I don't know.
No, it's got to be something. We'll save this for another episode. When we start our influencer careers, I'd love to be a micro influencer for shitty golf companies, so I can get free stuff and they could pay for me to play at places.
What do I'll come up with something for the next episode, for the next EP.
But I think that wraps up episode 10,
9. I think this is 9.
Right.
Yeah, we're rolling through it. Are we gonna cut a season or something? Like, what did you do? 15? I don't know how seasons work.
TV shows
spitballing this, by the way.
TV shows used to be 22 seasons, which now is insane because like HBO shows are like 8.
But those are sitcoms, though, right? Yeah. Was it like actual?
All I watch is sitcoms.
Yeah, so those like 30-minute episodes were like 22 seasons. I mean, 22 episodes or whatever.
Yeah, but so like all network stuff is like 22, which is like mind blowing.
Yeah.
People getting paid. Yeah, maybe we'll do 15. I don't know.
Who knows? We can do however many we want to do. It's the internet.
Who cares? Yeah.
Hashtag free game. Episode limits don't matter.
Exactly. But yeah, thank you for hanging out with the new 20s. We love it. Sorry about the car horn in the back, but I live in Los Angeles, so you got to deal with it.
Hey, we got to deal with it. We'll get more money in once we start monetizing these episodes.
Now that we can, because we don't have a copyright infringement on the.
We don't.
On the song, we couldn't monetize videos before because we had a copyright infringement for Why.
But do we have a copyright infringement on this one? I don't know.
I don't think so.
Cross. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's posted on YouTube. If you guys check us out on YouTube, you can see our epic facial reactions to the stuff they say to each other.
You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on iTunes, all those good places.
Yeah.
Where can they find you on social, sir?
I am at Kingskid_15. And where you at, Chuck?
I am at Charles Mockler. Free game. Just make it your name if you're not too worried about it.
And I'll put it down in the and I got a new border for the new for YouTube.
And it looks good.
Fancy. I'm
Caleb is doing a lot more legwork to make this podcast look good than I am.
Hey, I just got to make sure we post them on time. That's all. That's the best part about it. So
man, time doesn't matter.
Time does not matter. Time's a social
flat
construct.
circle. Oh yeah, also that. I just watched True Detective.
We can talk about True Detective.
We watched. My buddy had never seen it. We knocked out the first season in 2 days.
Oh, the last season's really good too.
Yeah, so the middle season not
so much. Yeah.
But yeah, we'll be back next week with an episode either about us being influencers or how good True Detective is, or just our favorite TV shows. That might be fun.
Yeah, and hit us up in the however you want to hit us up.
Hit me up on social.
Yeah, hit us in the comment section. Let us know, what you want to hear us talk about. I mean, it's been fun for us. I mean, we're 8 episodes in. We find stuff to talk about, and if you think our conversation is good, then just say, hey, we want to hear you talk about this. We want to see what you guys feel about that. We might even throw a review on iTunes. Some current what is it? I don't know. I'm blanking on the word. Current news. What's
current events?
Current events. That's the word.
You were so close.
I was so close.
If you leave a review on iTunes, put in a subject in your review, and we'll talk about it on the next episode too.
And if you follow us, we follow back. We follow back everybody. If you unfollow us, we unfollow you as well. So just know I know, and you've been unfollowed.
All right, that wraps it up for episode 9. We'll get back at you guys next week. Thanks, everybody.
You guys, peace.